Hello viewers, welcome to our lecture series on Indian ethos in management, and today we are going to discuss about Indian ethics and the spirit of development. And in this very series I'll be telling you about Indian ethics and the spirit of its development. We'll also talk about the essence of Indian model. We'll also talk about the intellectual foundations of the Indian model, the Panch Kosa theory, the theory of Purushartha, the theory of Gunas, which are basically the integral part of Indian ethics and the spirit of development. So when we talk about Indian ethics and the spirit of its development, my dear learners, we need to first understand what is there in the background. Why do we need this kind of model, this kind of theories for our own usage when we talk about the business and the corporate entities as well? So in the background, if we look at the ancient books, we find that many of our ancient books, they display uniqueness of futuristic looks and timeless ideas. You find the ideas which are actually timeless. There is no expiry date to those ideas, those perspectives which have actually found its own place in the ancient books, and they are basically known as the eternal one, and in the language of Indian scriptures we call it Sanatana. We basically call them Sanatan or Sanatana, and in their approach they are basically eternal, and they form the basis for articulating a vision for social and management theory, which is reflected by their emphasis on the eternal human values. And although the nature of political system, production system and the organizational forms, it has undergone cataclysmic change, or what you call as unprecedented change, they have undergone. And innovations in technology, it has affected our lifestyle also. However, the human yearning for idealized values has not in any manner diminished. So along with the change in technology, the way we have been doing business, the way we have been operating, the kind of lifestyle we are having nowadays, the working style, the methodology which we are following, the organizational system, political system, everything has undergone a dramatic and drastic change. But in any case, with all these changes, there is no decline for the human earning for idealized values. Still we look for the ideal values, still we look for the ethos, still we look for the ethics. What is the reason behind that? The reason is very simple. Why do we need idealized values? The reason is very simple, because if we really wish to sustain our business or into our operations, it is something which is very much necessary. So sustainability is something which forces us to actually adopt these idealized values, and this is indicated by the emphasis on revival of human values. Now we talk about revival of human values, and with the passage of time, many isms have come and gone. Some at one point of time, one specific idea comes up, and it is very much in fag. It is there in fashion, and eventually it goes out. But in future also new isms may arise and go, and the eternal one, what will exist here is the Sanatana, or the eternal aspect of human values. This is something which is supposed to continue to inspire the humanity and its institutions. And indeed, during each era of social upheaval, a great need has been felt for revival of human values. So what is the need here? This upheaval revival dynamic, or the dialectic is captured by the famous shloka from Bhagavad Gita, that is yada yada hi dharmasya. It indicates that whenever there is a decline, there is an erosion of human values, or what you call as the adharma takes over, there is a need to re-establish the human values. So whenever there is a decline, there is a need to re-establish those human values which are actually which are actually timeless. I mean, there is no time frame linked to it, and we need them in all ages, we need them in all eras. Whatever ism you are following, whether it is capitalism or it is socialism, or you are finding the policy of mixed economy, in all perspectives you need these values to continue to sustain. And it is in this context only that a new model of development as well as leadership and management is needed to guide us to take up the challenge of this new millennium. So when we are standing in this 21st century and we are surrounded with all these challenges, so we actually need a specific kind of specific model of leadership, specific model of management which can guide us, which can enable us to take up the challenge of this 21st century. And when we start looking at these problems which are actually coming to the fore with the emergence of this globalization and the kind of challenge corporate entities are having, the level of the extent of competition they are actually witnessing, it is something which is needed to sustain. If we really wish to sustain our business enterprise, we have to actually stick to those human values. So there are two sides of life, what we call as the essence of the Indian model. And Indian thought basically favors a holistic view of life. It says that we need to follow a balanced approach to the material as well as spiritual development of individuals and society. It says that we are not discounting the significance of materiality, which means you have to earn. But along with that, the spiritual development cannot be discounted. You are giving significance, you are giving importance to the material success, but along with that, to sustain for long, we need spiritual development of individuals as well as society. Then only the nation building can be done, which can sustain. We can have a nation which can sustain, which can have, which is based on the pillars of the strong pillars of human values. And in present day's context, it implies combining the spiritual heritage with that of scientific advances. Because my dear learners, whenever we talk about those spiritual heritage, those spiritual learnings, those spiritual ideas and thoughts, the present generation, which is regarded as the generation of alpha childs, and they basically ask for the evidences. They want those ideas to be supplemented by the scientific advances. That we are living in the age of, we are basically we are born in the era of 21st century. So how can we blindly have faith on those spiritual learnings, those ideas, without understanding, without having any scientific base to that idea? So what is needed today is that we have to combine the spiritual heritage with that of scientific advances. I am not saying that they are wrong. Their expectation is actually correct. It is needed. What they are expecting, what the present generation is expecting from those spiritual ideas, those spiritual thinkings, those models, is something which is the need of the hour. Because if you really want the entire world to accept you as Vishwaguru, you have to have that gurutva. You have to have that gravity in your ideas, your actions, your thoughts, and that is something which is there into the Indian model, and that is basically the essence of the Indian model. In the holistic model of this development, the spiritual side of life is also represented by the yin, and the material or the materialistic side by yang. Yin-yang theory, I will be telling you that it is basically, it emanates from the Chinese school of thought, and there they are basically applying this theory. So we are not denying to other schools of thoughts. We don't deny even to the Western ideas. But why to only accept them? Why not putting our own Indian model to the fore and understand the very relevance and importance of that? If our own model is giving us an idea which we find to be the Indian one, with which we are familiar also, and we are finding the evidences of that, so why not accept those ideas? The holistic model, it basically strives to achieve a balance between the two, and it is based on the complementary principle, or what you call as the harmony of the opposites. Accepting the opposition is also the Indian way of managing the things. Accepting the diversity, stay united amid the diversity, that is something which is actually the true characteristics of an Indian philosophy, an Indian citizen, where we actually honor to all the oppositions. We always accept the opposition. Whenever you are giving an idea which is opposed to my own belief, of course I am supposed to listen to that, and I need to take a pause. I need to think that if a person is giving me this idea, whether it is better or not, if it is better, there is no point saying no to it. Because we belong to a country where we follow Ano Bhadra Krituvo Yantu Vishwata. We say that let the noble idea come to us from all directions, from all dimensions. So we are here to accept the goodness, from every dimension, whether it is from Indian school of thought or it is coming from, emanating from the other schools of thought. We don't mind. So this is the true, in true sense, it is basically the Indian model of managing the business affairs. So the concept of dialectical harmony, it has its origin to the Eastern thought, and is best represented by the yin-yang concept of the Chinese, and what you call as the Ardhanarishwar or Shiva Shakti in Indian thought. What yin-yang says, we already have that in place in the name of Ardhanarishwar, where we consider Lord Shiva as Ardhanarishwar, and half portion of his body belongs to Lord Shiva, and next half, his second half, belongs to Shakti, that is Durga. So we have that Ardhanarishwar concept or idea in Indian thought, and there is a Hegel's thesis, antithesis, and synthesis concept also bears interesting similarities with this idea. So what we find in Ardhanarishwar, concept of Indian thought, the same is said in Yin Yang of Chinese concept, and Hegel's thesis, antithesis, and synthesis also speaks about the same. So in holistic model of development, emphasis is on dialectical harmony of the spiritual and what you call as the material side of life. And they are basically, if you ask me, I would say that these management concepts and theories, they are basically acting as derivatives of this model, and it implies that both sides of the life should be combined in such a manner that it leads to the holistic happiness while operating in a situation which is highly competitive. So in place of considering them to be competitive in nature, we should consider both the sides to be complementary in nature. Without materiality, how can you think of spirituality, or without spirituality, we can't imagine the material success. So both are needed, both are actually needed, because it is just like, we are having two eyes. So both are needed for a clear vision. If we really want to see properly, we need both the eyes. So both the eyes are important for us, equally important, and they are not competitive in any case. They are basically complementary to each other, and this is actually the essence of the Indian model of development. And the Indian model of holistic development, it has also been metaphorically described by people of wisdom as the two wings of a bird. They say that it is just like a bird is having two wings on both the sides. It is just like that, and one is representing the material side, whereas the other one is representing the spiritual side or the spiritual aspect. But do remember, my dear learners, both the wings are needed to fly. For a bird to fly, both the wings are needed. With one wing, a bird cannot fly. So the development, this entire, we can say that development implies a balanced approach to life and progress. So we have to take care, we have to give equal importance or significance to the material side as well as the spiritual side. And we have to only keep this thing in mind, that they are in no way competitive to each other. They are basically complementary to each other. They complement each other. Both of them are needed. But what we need here is, we need a balanced approach. If there is only one-sided materialistic development, it may lead to several social problems. If we only talk about making money, if we only have the profit maximization as the ultimate goal of business entity, or if we feel that we are basically profit oriented entity and our only job is to make profit, then of course, my dear learners, we will be disappointed. It may lead to several social problems. And the same is being witnessed or experienced by Western countries. If you look at their own philosophy, they are in no way less than other companies which are operating across the globe. Their corporate entities in their setup, they are making huge money, and they are actually regarded as the powerhouse of. They have been regarded as the powerhouse of the entire globe. But if you look at the kind of social problems they are witnessing, it is something which is basically our point of concern, and that may actually act as a hurdle for these companies or for those business houses to sustain for long run. So the Western experience is there in front of us, and we always say that a person is wise who who learns from his own mistake, but a person is wiser who learns from others' mistakes. So if we start learning from their mistakes and we realize that we already have a solution in our own scriptures for this very problem which they are facing, I don't think that we are going to have this kind of problem in years to come. For in our business setup, in our own country, we are not supposed to face such problems, because we already understand that we have to follow a balanced approach. We need not to run after making money only. We have to go for having a balanced approach, wherein we not only look at the profit maximization, but we also talk about the spirituality, we also talk about taking care of the social concern, and that is why we have the concept of corporate social responsibility. So similarly, if there is an emphasis only on spirituality, of course, if I say that if you go for another extreme, you should not be an extremist. Suppose if you follow another extreme, that we are going to be called as a spiritual nation, we'll only talk about spirituality, there is no business, there is no profitability, then of course there is no material success, there is no material progress, and with that you cannot survive. As a nation, if you wish to survive, as a business entity, if you wish to survive, the material progress is equally important. So I would say that the spirit of development is basically demanding that for the progress of life in the material as well as the spiritual world, a balanced approach is very much needed. It is something which we can't avoid. We need both the aspect to be strong. We are supposed to be strong in terms of material success, and we are supposed to be rooted with this spiritual school of thought, and we should be spiritually strong, because that would actually offer us strength to emerge as a profit making entity, to ensure that we are also having the material success. So my dear learners, we actually need a balanced approach, and as I already told you, that it is just like a bird having two wings, and both the wings are needed to fly. So in order to fly, just like a bird needs both the wings, we also need these two wings, like material success and spiritual aspect of our life. Spiritual success also is also needed if we really want to emerge as a sustainable business entity, as a sustainable nation, as a sustainable society, and also the family. So Indian ethics and the spirit of development, if we look at the foundations of the Indian model, it is something which we need to discuss here, that what are the foundations of the Indian model. Indian ethics also is at times referred as Indian ethos, and basically at the heart of it is actually at the heart of the Indian model of development. And my dear learners, it is in sharp contrast to the Western model of what you call as Protestant ethics and spirit of capitalism. It is entirely in sharp contrast to this Protestant ethics and spirit of capitalism, that is rooted in extreme individualism, because that capitalist spirit of capitalism basically finds its roots in extreme individualism, where we talk about the individual success. We don't think about society, we don't think about family. We feel that only I'm an individual, I'm successful, I'm making money, I'm having all material success, I'm happy. So that is basically the spirit of capitalism, and it has actually resulted in emergence of what you call as the societies which are, it is just like a child who is malnourished. So it is what you can call as maldeveloped societies, maldeveloped nations, which are actually not underdeveloped. They are basically what you can call as maldeveloped society. Just like there is a problem of malnutrition among the infants. It is just like that your country is not having that vision, that idea of emerging as a sustainable entity. So if your nation itself is not having that idea, and you follow the extreme individualism, then of course your business entities, their success, it can also be the same. It would be compromised. So there is a need for correction. This is something which we all accept, that there is a need for correction. If we become extremist, there is a need for correction. And the Indian ethics model, it has its own emphasis on holistic development, and it offers us a new model for the future development of human society. It is giving us a new model for the future development. And what would be the face of that society, that we need to know. We are dreaming of a society in which spirit of capital, or what you call as the earth dimension, we talk about earth, dharma, kama and moksha as the 4 dimensions of our life. So the earth dimension of life is not negated. We are going to craft a society where the economic aspect, or what you call as spirit of capital aspect, is not negated. But basically what we need is that this earth dimension need to be driven by what you call as dharma or the ethics. So ethical earning should be there. We are not opposed to the capital formation. We are not opposed to making of profit. But what we are opposed to as an Indian school of thought, what we expect from the business entities, is that you should have the dharma driven earth, or ethical earning, ethical making of profit, profit making by the ways and means which are ethical in all senses. Because if you are making a profit which is not ethical and then you are doing something ethical, it is not going to make any difference in any case. So what we expect here is that dharma driven artha, or spiritually guided materialism, it represents a balanced approach to development, and we need a balanced approach. If we follow this mid path, where we are neither on the first extreme of making profit, or what you call as materiality, nor on the second extreme, that is another extreme, which is spirituality. But we have to be in between. We have to follow the dharma driven artha, or what you call as spiritually guided materialism. And if you look at Western ethos or Western thinkers, they are rooted in individualism or the primacy of self-interest. Whereas if you look at Eastern ethos, or what you call as the Indian ethos, it favors lok sangrah, or what you call as the primacy of collective interest and altruism. We are the one who talk about altruism. We have to talk about lok sangrah. Why to have savings for my own self? Why not have some savings for the entire society? We can talk about lok sangrah. And it is something which is required, and we call it as the balance between the two. So my dear learners, what I wanted to tell you here is that this is basically the essence of the Indian school of thought, where we talk about, we have drawn a comparison between the material success and the spiritual satisfaction, the spiritual aspect of the Indian scriptures. And we have to find a midway. We have to basically follow the mid path. Then only we can ensure the balanced growth of not only the corporate entities but also the society and nation. In the next lecture of mine, I'll be telling you about the intellectual foundations of the Indian model. I hope you must have enjoyed today's lecture of mine. Thank you so much.